I'm a psychologist, and today we're going to talk about how to know if your partner is restricting or killing your potential, whether it be your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. So let's get started. A good starting place is to ask yourself the following deep question. Is your partner holding you back, or are you holding you back? Ponder on this question. People have the tendency to blame or shift responsibility outward without truly looking inward first. Are you afraid of growing not because you think your partner is holding you back, but because you are scared of the pressures of finally succeeding? Do you prefer to stay within the status quo and thereby also staying inside your status quo? Think about that for a minute. As I said before, we all have a major tendency to blame the outward person, but if you were able to grow, you would just continue to grow. So you're not growing anymore. So something is holding you back. Is it them or is it you? Now, I'm going to assume that you have an accurate perception of reality and that you have come to the conclusion that it is in fact your partner restricting your growth and not you. One way to further bolster the accuracy of this self-assessment is to understand the basic dynamics in a healthy relationship. So the basic dynamics are, in a relationship, both partners are the adults. They will set goals, set responsibilities, delegate, and distribute the workload reasonably between the two of them. If one person starts to grow, and by extension they are engaging in a process called individuation, or they are continuing to individuate, if the other person also grows and individuates, then that is a healthy relationship dynamic. But if the other person then suddenly switches to the critical adult role, then that is a sign that they are in fact restricting you. So what this might look like is each time you receive a success or an achievement or something major or important happens to you. Now, you can't reasonably expect your partner to compliment you or acknowledge it every single time. But if there is minimal acknowledgement over the course of many months or years of your achievements, or the inverse, there's criticism and saying things like, well, you could have done better, or I wouldn't have said that, or I don't think you deserve that, and they're criticizing your ability to individuate, then they are by definition restricting your ability to grow, and they are shifting from the adult to the critic. And this is not a good sign. You see, in behavioral economics, you will find that people tend to assess their value based on the people around them. And sometimes a person will assess their value or lack thereof based on the competition around them. So if your partner finds that as you elevate in status, they elevate in status, that's actually a good thing. That means that your value and their value are increasing together, which is what you want. But if you're finding that as you increase in value, as you start to individuate, and then your partner perceives that as a threat or competition, then they're perceiving the dynamic as unequal and maybe as a bit competitive, which can be useful if the competition facilitates growth in both people. But if the competition between the two results in excessive criticism or judgment or lack thereof reasonable levels of support, once again, I would be concerned. A good way to really illustrate the behavioral economics approach is this. If both of you start in a world of poverty and then grow together, you are considered equals because you are building resources together. If one of you grows and the other one starts to experience distress, then the perception is unequal and considered more of a competition, which of course is an unhealthy dynamic that can result in, well, if you're competitive with someone, then you're going to try to beat them and win. And you might do that via criticism or via destruction, for example. Also useful to differentiate is the difference between jealousy and envy. So jealousy is when you are afraid to lose what you have to a rival, whereas envy is when you hate that someone else has something that you don't, so you go out and spoil it. So if your partner is jealous of you, they might not necessarily restrict your growth, but they might be angry at the things that you have. Whereas if there's envy, then they might try and actively take what you have from you. A final concept to consider in this dilemma is the identity that both of you have played in the relationship. So if one person is the organizer, and another person is the messy one, and that dynamic results in a healthy equilibrium of the transmission of resources and spare time, then that's fine. But if over time the messy one then becomes the organized achiever, and then the organized person, their role is no longer needed in the dynamic, in the dyad, if the roles aren't updated to restore harmony in the dyad, like the original organizer then becomes maybe the observer maybe, and the independent one, if they don't update their role and they in fact go from being the organizer to then the restrictor or the critic, then that is not actually re-updating the healthy dynamic between the two of you, and is in fact related to restricting your ability to grow. You have to update those roles effectively. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.